Today is day 2 of the category art, and I'd like to talk about Cuban music. I'll start off with Celia Cruz and end with the Buena Vista Social Club. So, Celia Cruz was born Ursula Hilara Celia de la Caridad Cruz Alfonso, and she shortened it to Celia Cruz, and that's what we know her as the greatest Latin American artist of the 20th century. She is brought into this category because she's an Afro-Cuban. A lot of her music genre originate with the African people who were taken to Cuba and called slaves. She had mastered all the levels of music that those folks had brought from Africa to Cuba and personalized depending on whatever type of a year it was and however the culture was evolving. So she is known as the salsa queen because her music genre was salsa, guaracha, and rumba, and she also did more. But in the 50s, she was known as the La Cuchara de Cuba, and she was also known as the Queen of Salsa and the Queen of Latin music because the type of music she did was something that was appreciated universally, even though she spoke Spanish. Her music style was something that anyone can appreciate because of her rhythms and flows that originated from Africa, the origins of humanity. So what's really interesting is that the rumba concept is something that's also in the Congo. And if we think of the so-called slave trade, you would think of West Africa, but you also have to include you have to include Congo because you had Luango, which is basically a port in Congo, the Republic of Congo as we know it right now. So some of our ancestors have come from the Congo. It wasn't just West Africa because the Congo Kingdom is considered Central Africa. So I think personally that Celia Cruz probably was a Congolese because Congolese are known for their music and their dance style, and that's exactly what Celia Cruz on the island of Cuba is known for. So then I'll get into just my top 3 songs that if you wanted to check out this artist, this is what you should look at. Oye Como Va and Ria y Llora and Kimbara. Those are 3 great songs that you'll get a gist of what type of music she created for the world. And then next is the Buena Vista Social Club. So the Buena Vista Social Club is a conglomerate of various artists, Afro-Cuban artists. A lot of them were born in like the early 1900s, and their music style was from like the 30s and 40s. They had a very progressive music style. They always stayed relevant when it comes to music. So we have I would say you can look up Chan Chan and Candela. Those are both 2 good songs that you will get the point of how these musicians were so successful in Cuba and around the world. They basically was a part of the golden age of Cuba, which was around the 1950s, which is the same era as Celia Cruz. So these people are known as like the Afro-Cuban all-stars because a lot of them had their own personal reputation in Cuba for their music or for their instrument talent. So yeah, there was Alberto, which he's also known as Virgilio, and there was Compe, there was Guajario, and some of them are dead as well. So not all of them are alive, but a lot of them are still alive. Some of them are dead. But basically, their music was timeless. Their music was something that brought to the forefront Afro-Cuban music, just like Celia Cruz. She brought to the forefront Afro-Cuban music. And what's so interesting is that these 2 groups of people are known as legends in the Afro-Cuban music scene, and both of them are products of Africa. So it shows you how graceful our genome is. Despite having this slave reality or this slave illusion, these folks still were able to bring something so artistic and so profound to our civilization as we know it. So Cuban music, as these 2 contributors, have done a lot for the Black community. It shows us how we can still represent our roots without even knowing that we're representing them, and also be the greatest form of that root that we can possibly be. Because if we think about these artists as descendants of Africa, we're just like, wow, that's just another form of greatness being reflected. And that's why they made it to the art list for this category of art in the Afro genome.